Scholar Podcast.
Atlanta Hawks. Let's talk Atlanta Hawks. Matt.
Well,
All right.
they obviously got they obviously
Obviously.
made some major, I would say major moves.
This
in
is the team that
offseason.
took the biggest jump.
That is who we voted on. The Baller Scholar survey.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think they're to watch over the next few years, and it could be a free agent destination
With
They're-
Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Chris Dunn, decent player, Rondo to get people, nice veteran presence,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and of course,
yeah.
the
Yep.
biggest one, Solomon Hill.
Solomon
Huge.
Hill.
No, I'm joking. I didn't
He
even
has
know he was
finals
there.
experience.
I wonder if he's gotten a
That's
haircut.
true.
Well,
That's a good point. I think that obviously the Bogdan signing is the most significant,
The Bogdan Skogdan podcast.
and like
That's
just
for him,
I mean, Gallinari is obviously an important signing too, and it really makes them like a completely different team almost.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
Spread
and
the
obviously
floor.
they have Capella, who's never played yet, who hasn't played for the Hawks yet.
Right.
But like their whole team compared to last season is like it's just better. Like it just is.
Yeah.
There's
They've
no
improved
they've improved like a ton
at
too.
every position.
Yeah, except
and
obviously
bench.
point guard and power forward because they
But
still have
arguably
Trae
they
Young.
would get better.
Yeah. That's what they're hoping for, especially with like getting Rondo, getting Capella maybe to help John Collins maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not the exact same kind of position, but similar.
Who was the team we were talking about where you said like it's a bunch of basically role players
Cavs.
you would want on championship?
Oh, that was the
team?
Knicks.
team?
The Knicks was the supporting cast.
No,
that
the
had
Cavs,
star.
the Cavs.
Cavs?
Oh,
Where it's like a bunch of
Oh,
guys
Brian was saying
it's
it.
a bunch
That's
of
what it
guys that you would want your team. Like if you're a
they're
team
pieces
that's
for another
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
championship
like Kevin
title.
Love.
Yeah,
I almost feel like the Hawks
Well-
are better than the Cavs, but I feel like
Well,
the
even
Hawks
like
have a lot
not.
of
I
players.
think Brian was talking more about like just like the whole like bench.
like
Right.
Where like
this. Like you have Trae Young. That's potential. Like that's growth. Like that's not like a piece that you need to like.
No. I'm not saying these are role players.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think this team is potentially like one like really good all-star away from being a contender.
Yeah, like
the
they
next
could go
couple
after one of
years.
those guys.
I think
Exactly.
it's a similar situation to the Bulls though, where it's like
Bunch of good
Oh, I think
guys.
they're way
They-
better than the Bulls.
no. But I'm saying similar situation where it's like defensively
That's
they're
what I
not
was gonna
there.
say.
One All Star,
Oh,
one
sure.
All Star. Like that'll get them to the playoffs probably. If they were to get like a good player, like it.
If they make the playoffs on their own this year, they could be a good
I mean-
spot for someone.
I looking at their lineup and their bench with, well, we don't really know exactly who's gonna be starting at small
Mhm.
forward, but whether it's Gallinari, whether it's Reddish or Hunter, they still like they're. It doesn't even look like they have a weak spot, honestly,
Tony
on their
No,
bench.
they're very, very complete team.
Yeah.
If people play to like the caliber we
Yeah.
expect, because I don't think Hunter or Reddish had like the season anyone was expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because like we say they're complete and we're like saying all this, but we know that. Well, we don't know for a fact, obviously, but we know that they're probably not going to be anything better than an 8 seed.
Probably not. Like
If-
they're
if
complete
at
in that.
best,
Like they
at
fill the
best.
holes, but that doesn't mean like.
That's because
It's
they're
gonna
young,
work.
too, though.
And I agree. Like my biggest worry with this team is defensively. Like, I don't think that they're gonna be able to defend, especially playoffs. Like, there's no way
It's just
that
Trae
they're
Young,
gonna
really.
defend at
No,
like a
yeah.
playoff.
That's how they try to win,
Trae
though.
Young's a liability.
Yeah, they just try to win.
I don't
through
think
offense.
Gallinari
It's
is
like-
great on defense.
It's like a similar thing to
Collins
like the
can't play
Rockets.
defense?
It's similar to. I think that it's
He's
like,
like fine.
I think they're like Collins and Capella. Obviously, they're like fine
They're
players.
serviceable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Gallinari. I mean, like
But then it's like you take like Chris Dunn on the bench, like in the playoffs, like you're playing 4 and 5 on offense if you need someone to defend for
yeah.
the most part. So I feel like I don't know. After some time, I'm not as high on the Hawks as I feel like I was originally.
Yeah.
Where like on paper it looks great, but I don't know like in
How that
execution
plays
if
out,
they
yeah.
can defend.
Well, I think it's going to take a while for them to learn how to play together too. I think they're such a new team.
Yeah.
I
Well-
mean, now since, I mean, obviously, like we talk about now, and all this is the third Eastern Conference podcast. We know that there's a lot of like the East is just different now
Mm-hmm.
than it has been in the past for the past few years. So it's like we know that this won't be easy for them to make the playoffs, obviously. And I know what you mean, like that. Looking at it now, thinking about it, actually like going through it, definitely makes a difference when you're like thinking
Mhm.
about if they're going to be able to like make that push to the playoffs. I still think it's well. I mean, you're not saying that it's not a possibility.
No,
I
no,
know
not
that,
at
but I
all.
still think it's like a real chance. Obviously,
Yeah.
the Wizards we're going to talk about later, but they are now probably one of the major contenders for just the playoffs in general. So
Yeah.
I like Onyeka too, and they got Bruno Fernando, who he won't do much, but they have some good young big men. So, if the injury bug ever bites them, their bench is going to be fine. I like Horder, and Cam Reddish had a good night tonight. Playing against
Really?
yeah, he played pretty well.
Cool.
I like them. I don't know if they're the 8th playoff team for me.
Yeah. Especially after some recent transactions, which we'll get into later.
I just feel like I don't know if John Collins is gonna stick around, like Gallinari. 3 years. I don't know what he'll be like at the tail end of that contract. Like, will they stay with Capella? I just don't know, like, future wise, where this
Right,
team
right.
shakes out exactly, because they don't have they have a young core, but depending on like Reddish and Hunter's development, whether they're like a future contender or are they gonna fall into like the Pacers kind of stuck? Is it like a perennial playoff team,
Yep.
and then like that's it?
similar situation, maybe like kind of the complete opposite of like the Magic from like a team standpoint, where it's like the Magic win
Right.
off defense.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Hawks are going to win on offense, and will they
go
ever be able to
nowhere.
be better than like the 8 seed
Probably
within the next couple of years?
Well, it's like
Not by themselves.
Yeah,
not with this team yet.
Not with this team.
because Trey Young, I feel like is like Isaiah Thomas, and
Defensively.
like he can't get better, like he can't grow or just like he can put on some muscle, but like
that's true. Yeah,
to some degree, when you have like Drew Holiday, like I don't think he's gonna defend like a 6'3" point guard.
And if you're an
That can
Atlanta,
just, like is bigger.
if you're an Atlanta Hawks fan, I feel like you have to be excited for the season too. You haven't had like anything like this
Yeah.
in recent years, so like, yeah, the future is bright.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, unless Trey Young has puts up like MVP numbers, I think you'll be on the, right on the verge of a playoff of like the 8th seed of playoff berth in general. But I don't know if they get the 8th seed this year. I think it might take a year and another acquisition for them to get into playoffs.
I agree with that.
Agreed.
And they have Tony Snell now.
Bullshit, Scott. I
So,
know you don't agree with me.
That's pretty sick,
Sorry.
and that's awesome.
Who's that? Yeah, Ola B.
Do you
All right.
move any of these young guys for a star?
I think
Well, they still have potential.
if it opens up, depending on the star,
What
obviously,
kind of
and
star?
I don't know, like mid-level star.
I think you
Get
could
like C.J. McCollum
I think we can.
for like.
CJ McCollum and Oladipo would be good on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oladipo and excuse me, like Capella and I don't know, a pick or Tony Snell for Oladipo, and then you slide everyone down so it's Trey Young, Oladipo, Bogdanovich, Gallinari, and then Collins playing, and they play a small ball lineup. You still have Bruno and Onyeka off the bench.
Sure.
You still have wings with Herter and Reddish, and then Rajon and Dunn, and I think that's a better team.
I could see that actually with Pacers taking a chance on like Reddish or Hunter
Yeah,
and hoping maybe that brings them over the hump. And I do think Oladipo would help this team out a lot. Does anyone want to go down as saying they're an 8 seed?
I cannot
Can't do it.
8 seed now.
And your projections? Did you say they're going to be the 8?
Well, I think
We'll replay
that
the tape.
I might have honestly, but now that I'm thinking about it, there's just the 8 seed is so hard to predict.
It's going to be like a toss-up.
Maybe even the
between
7
4
too,
teams.
but like the 8 especially, like there's a lot of teams
Yeah.
that like could potentially make it.
I had them on there until Russell Westbrook was traded to the Wizards,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I wasn't sure about John Wall. That's why I put the Hawks initially at the 8th, but I like Westbrook and Washington. I think that's a good spot for him.
I love John
Alright.
Wall.
So I
Well,
don't think
I
they
guess the
need-
jury's out
Let's
on the Hawks.
talk to the weirdest team in basketball.
Yes, yeah.
Weird how?
Just
like,
a weird team. I mean, you got like LaMelo, Gordon,
What a-
actual gang member Terry Rozier.
Okay. What do the conversations in that locker room look like between LaMelo and Gordon?
They were working
Just
out the other
Socratic
day together. It was
seminars.
Yeah,
really
it looked kind of. It was weird.
weird
but-
duo.
Yeah.
I hope LaMelo does well. It's weird because
I'm
like
rooting for him.
the narrative about the Ball brothers has like changed so much over the years because the dads finally shut up.
Yep.
Mhm.
And like you I guess I don't know. I root for Lonzo. I root for LaMelo. They have Devontae Graham. I don't know if what he did last season is going to be like he can replicate.
Yep, that'll
PJ
be tough.
Washington, I can only see him getting better.
Yeah.
And Gordon, I feel like will be more comfortable in this. You know.
I think so too.
a lot more touches.
Yeah, I like Miles Bridges. Malik Monk, hasn't panned out thus far, but hopefully he can figure it out along the way. And then you're paying Terry this like a ton of money, and Terry and Gordon are fairly comfortable together. I think this team could I don't see them making the playoffs, but I think they could do more than expected. Vernon Carey, late first, early second round pick.
I think, yeah.
I still think is the most underrated pick.
Yeah.
Like the
Is there a
best
sleeper?
value pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good team. I don't think they're gonna win anything, but I don't know how much I like the Gordon Hayward contract. I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Terry contract. But if this team, and everyone plays to a reasonable amount of their potential, they could be like a fun team to watch. And
Definitely a good team to watch. I think there's the voice crack again, man. This is a night of voice cracks, man.
Well, just for you.
11-11.
We're not
make a
voice
wish.
cracking over here.
It's 11-11. 3.
There's a voice
Because
crack.
remember what-
I
remember
wish
what-
that I never voice crack again.
All right, just got
Remember
You
what
gotta
Matt,
drink
remember
something,
what
bro.
Matt said? He said, "Stay hydrated."
But he said beer dries you out.
That's true.
So
it does.
he's fucking contradicting himself.
Well,
No, no,
be-
okay.
alcohol
You're not
is
hydrating yourself. With alcohol.
dehydrating you.
you want
He begs to
it's
differ.
Friday night, so.
right, you're right.
Well,
it's
but that's
Friday
not the
night.
point. You want the voice cracks to go away. Stay hydrated.
Anyways,
Or maybe go through puberty.
I've been thinking about this Gordon Hayward.
Second wave.
Grow up.
I've been thinking about Gordon Hayward on the Hornets a lot.
Gordon Hayward has a lot of real estate in your mind.
The
you know?
contract is bad. But I don't think he has a bad year. I think he
Mm-mm.
actually has a really good year. I think this is the year he's been looking for ever since
I forgot they have both the Martin twins too on this
he left
team.
the Jazz.
The contract is terrible until
It's a terrible contract.
until proven otherwise.
But the contract is terrible because of the context. But I think
Yeah.
he has a good year.
If this,
I agree.
If
I
this
actually do
team
agree.
gets
I
any
hope he does,
injuries,
too.
they're
I think he
fucked.
might be 20
Yeah,
points
that's
a game.
probably true.
Depth
Definitely a
wise,
big
this
man.
is awful.
Yeah, that's why bench contributors is like a short
I'm rooting
list
for
for them.
Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would Hayward have to do for him to be worth that contract?
Oh, 20 points a game, I think.
More than that, 23.
Well, nowadays, 20 points a game.
on this team, though,
Well, I'm saying they can get that kind of money. On this team, though, yeah, you're right.
I think
With
it's got to.
usage,
I think he's got to have
24.
23 points a game,
Yep.
and he's got to be one of the higher rebounding small forwards in the league.
like
Yeah.
23, 6 and 4. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I think,
And
and
they've got to win games.
he's got to get to the line too, like he did with the Celtics.
Initially, I don't know if they have to win games.
I don't know if
I don't
they
know
have
if
to
they're
win.
really-
I don't think they have to win a lot. I think they just need to. They
Mhm.
can't be the worst team in basketball.
And they won't be.
Anthony.
They can't be worse than
Yeah, no, he needs to get
some
to
of
the
those
line,
teams,
man.
the
Like
Cavs
his
and the Pistons, I don't think, at least.
All-Star season and like the 3 seasons before, he was getting to he was taking 6 free throws a game, and with the Celtics, he took under 3.
Yeah.
And I think with more touches, if he's a couple more years off the injury, he just needs to be aggressive. I feel like more.
More confident.
I think LaMelo has Rookie of the Year potential. Very, very high Rookie of the Year
Oh,
potential, obviously.
yeah.
I have high hopes for him, and I hope
I
he...
like LaMelo.
Yeah. PJ Washington, if he can make a big, big jump this year, which like a lot of people expect, that'd be huge.
He's 6'7", power forward.
Yeah.
Undersized, but I don't know. That was a weird pick initially, wasn't it? I feel like that was... that draft in general was a lot of guys going way earlier than they were projected.
Yeah, Cam
Like,
Johnson.
he was one of those guys. I don't know. Michael Jordan, as a GM, has had some... I guess, is he GM or just like president of some...
He's
yeah,
got
but like
say.
yeah.
His tenure there has
Operating,
been not very good.
Yeah. No, they have not been. What, like made the playoffs like one time?
No. Did they? With Kemba?
I think Kemba made it once.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they lost like
Other
eight.
than that, like
Maybe honestly it could have been twice, but either way, it doesn't matter. They never made it past the first round. Not even close, probably.
no, probably
Yeah.
got swept. Probably like 8 seed.
Yeah.
Bring back Bismack, huge. Re-signing.
That is a very, very big signing.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think they'll be interesting. I think LaMelo will bring a lot of excitement, but other than that, like I'm not excited about this team.
I don't know. That helps. The publicity helps.
Do you put this team? I don't think they're in the conversation for 8 seed.
No.
I don't.
No,
think
no.
Yeah, I don't think they can be. I mean, obviously, you can say it about like any team. Like if they get the player that Gordon was in Utah, and then
Yeah.
LaMelo has like a very good season. You can say that about like any team. Literally, any
I don't know.
team.
Their front court is just
So-
so weak. I feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
that. Like
Um,
they're not like Joel Embiid is gonna eat this team alive.
Yeah. And they're also
Giannis
just
will eat this
really-
team alive.
They're all just really
Tatum.
young.
Yeah. So
Miami Heat. You know,
Miami Heat.
coming off of a finals appearance, you know, obviously they lost, surprising finals appearance, but in the bubble
Yeah.
season, obviously anything could happen. You're bringing back young guys in Duncan, Tyler Hero, even Bam, Kendrick Nunn. These guys are obviously going to develop, you know, into better players, especially Tyler Hero. I think a lot of people look at him and think this is a season where he can make a huge jump and become, you know, a star guard in the league, you know, shooting guard. And then I think they bring on a few guys that can help them out. And I think Avery was a pretty good signing. Defensively, you know, they lose Jay Crowder, but you pick up Avery Bradley. Kind of like a clean swap
And
there.
Mo Harkless.
Yeah.
Mo Harkless could have gone elsewhere.
You think he's
Well-
getting offers?
That's why. So apparently he wants to. He wanted to sign with a contender this year and wait for next year when teams have way more money.
Mo Harkless is
But it's Mo
planning his
Harkless. I
financial
don't really, I don't
future.
really know how much money he's going
I
to get, but
do
he's definitely worth more than 1 year, $3.6 million.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's around the minimum for him.
yeah, something like that, like
Yeah.
Bettman. I do think they're gonna miss Jay Crowder a little bit just because
I wanted to
he's
say
a
that,
size
yeah.
guy.
3 and D.
That I don't think
that
Avery
was-
Bradley can guard like a stretch 4 like he could.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mo Harkless is. I don't know how much he'll play.
I don't think I was. I want to say I don't think I would ever thought I would say that team would miss Jay Crowder.
I know.
The
I think
Miami
he
Heat will
filled a
miss Jay
good.
I
Crowder.
feel like Jimmy then
A good
switches
role.
to cover those switch fours, and then you have
Yeah.
what's his name, Avery, to cover more of the guards and the smaller forwards.
Especially in the playoffs, I felt like Jay Crowder was kind of like an energy guy too.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
Jay
they
Crowder
still
shot 45% from 3-point.
Yeah. He had a tough bubble, but he had a great regular season,
they still have
shooting wise.
They also drafted.
Iguodala,
Yeah.
and they also. I mean, Mo Harkless is.
He's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's
I
not
got no
like a
problems
great
with
signing,
him.
obviously. Yeah, but he can cover 3-4. I don't see him starting, so that doesn't really
Mhm.
answer that kind of question. But at the same time, Duncan Robinson's usually not in the game at the end of the game.
They drafted
no, which
Precious.
is a problem. I feel like
Yeah,
if Euro and
Oh, yeah.
Robinson can defend more, then I would feel like better about this team. It's weird too because Duncan and like Nunn are like 25 and 24. Like I feel like we think of them as like these really young
Yeah.
guys, and I mean they have like 3 or 4 more years than I feel like they would generally have because they just kind of got started in the league. I I don't know. Do they?
I-
Where does this team land for you?
I think top half of the playoff seeds in the East. So, I don't want to give them a number right now, but I think it's
You can do a range.
1 through 4. I don't think they make 1. It's going to be more like 2 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Precious draft for them.
Mm-hmm.
He, like almost a 6'10" power forward center under Bam. I think is super helpful for a big man coming into the league. That's like essential.
It's a good guy
He
to
has,
watch.
he has the tools to like be a successful big man in the league, and I think that's a great person for Precious to learn from. And it's a good draft pick for the second year in a row that Heat take the guy that I want the Celtics to draft.
Yep.
And I don't know. I like them as their chances to make the playoffs, but I don't know how I feel about them. Repeating what
that.
they did
Yeah.
last season.
It's tough. Don't think they're going to be able to have a. Well, they're definitely able to be better than, like, have a better record than the top half. So like be able to be like a 1 to 4. But I just don't see them doing it. I still see a few of those teams. Just like, especially in the regular season, just better than them.
Yeah.
Celtics, Bucks,
Just more talented. I
Right.
feel like.
Right.
Sixers.
They might be able to
even.
win
The
a
Sixers,
series
like,
against one
aren't
of
great,
these.
obviously, but
Yeah, they might be able to win a series against these teams, but they're not. They like in a regular season one-off game. A lot of these teams are gonna beat them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously, they make the playoffs, and obviously, whoever they play in the playoffs, like, you're not going to want to play them. Whoever play,
Not at all.
their opponent's not going to want to play them. But, I mean, I don't see them getting back to the finals.
Mm.
I think that might have just been
Bubble
a
thing.
bubble thing. Yeah.
Well, the thing I like about the Heat that I feel like a lot of teams are struggling with is like they have an identity, which I feel like they really found in the bubble, where you have a leader like Butler that's like a gritty, like generous guy who's not like worried about shots, not worried about like individual stats, and like everyone kind of knows their role, and I feel like that has a lot to do with Spoelstra. Like that's a coach thing. I feel like you take on kind of the identity of your coach, and a lot of these teams, when you look at like the Hornets or like some of these bottom feeder teams, like they don't have an identity yet, where you can't see how these players gel together. You don't see like defined roles, and I feel like the Heat really have that, and if they expand on that, like they could be really good, and that's why I think it kind of worked in the bubble so well.
Yeah, and you mentioned Spoelstra, who undeniably is a top 3 coach in basketball. In longevity wise, he's been there the longest, right? I mean,
Yeah,
what
probably
other
there
coach?
for as long as he wants. I feel like
Obviously, Pop, him, and maybe Carlisle.
Yeah.
But even then, I think Spoelstra's been there longer. I mean, they're coached really well. They have great intensity. But like you said, I think the bubble had a huge effect on their shooters, on the comfort level of their young guys. And there might not be fans in arenas, but you never know with Florida. So they,
that's true.
it could be completely different.
Do you think Bam's worth a max? Has he shown you enough to say like he's worth that?
I think right now you had to give it to him, or else you're going to lose him.
Well, it's an extension, so you could have tested free agency, I guess.
Yeah, I think
think he would
in this
leave?
type of league, you have to give it, or you're going to lose it.
I mean, I agree with that, but I think that where you are, like, location wise, is like a big deal though. So it's like he's already in Miami, and like they have like the good tax
Yeah,
like
regulations.
laws, yeah, and like Miami, which is like a big spot that people want to be in.
Nightlife.
So like, yeah, I mean, I think that it might be a little early. Obviously, he's a great player, but Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum level,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No.
I don't.
Because
think we
he's
could-
had one like
Yeah.
great year,
yeah.
All-Star year.
I don't think we could put him there though. I still don't think we could. I mean, Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell showed,
Right, and they're the
through-
number one on their teams.
yeah, through 3 seasons now
Mm-hmm.
that they are like
legit.
Yeah, top 15 players, top 20 players,
Yeah.
if you want to go. So is Bam a top 15 player? I don't know. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that he can't get a max. Obviously, like
Right.
just because he's not like their level, because a max is like a max
Relative.
for a reason. Yeah,
Right.
like it's like the maximum you can give. If there was no max, Jason Tatum would get more
Mhm.
than Bam, I would assume.
Right.
Same with Donovan Mitchell; they'd get more than.
There's a
they
certain
both-
threshold that you can
So
give
it's
them.
like you can't give Bam like that much less than that money. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I mean,
Yeah.
they're like he is what they want. He works for them. Like he is like he just like
he's great.
what you were saying. Like they know their roles. He knows his role. He's a star that
Does a little everything.
and he doesn't
Yeah.
need and he doesn't
Does it well.
he's not a selfish player.
Yeah. That being said, I think they can continue their bubble success, like the way they were playing, but I don't know how much of a jump as a team that they make unless someone like Tyler Hero really, really steps up. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna stay the same while a lot of other teams grow more.
That's probably true.
And I don't know how that translates to, their possibility to make it to a championship. But I think the Heat have seen the furthest they've gotten
Well,
in
then
the playoffs.
in that case, do
Right
they
there.
make a move for James Harden?
I think you have to try.
Oh, wow.
I think you
And
have
what
to.
does that trade look like?
You're gonna have to give up one of the two, Hero or Robinson.
I would say both.
Yeah, or
just
boatload
Hero.
of picks with one of them.
I don't think Robinson's worth as much as Hero.
No, I don't think so either. But
And
I
like
think
2K, Hero's like 4 stars, and Robinson's probably like
yeah.
2.5, 3.
I was gonna say more like 3.5.
I think Robinson's a little.
He can stay in the league for a long time though.
Yeah.
With his
I mean,
play
he
style.
definitely showed out in the bubble.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like. I don't know. Did he even show out in the bubble, like statistically? What he like? I know he's like, oh, he can shoot really well, blah blah blah, but he's very one-dimensional. I don't know if he's like as big a piece as like we think he should be.
Yeah, I don't.
Like he's not like Klay Thompson level where it's like a superstar caliber player.
He has those. I think that consistency is like a really big thing in the NBA, and like he doesn't have that kind of consistency. But like when he's on, he's on.
If
Like
if he can lock in his shot, you know what I mean, and be just knock down more even at the 45% that he was at. If he can knock down to like close to 50% from 3 for his career, close to that number.
Right.
He's got a good like 10-year at least.
Yeah,
career.
absolutely. I think he's a fantastic piece, but I don't see him taking like a step as like your top 3 player on your team, where you're like a Klay Thompson.
Yeah, no, he never will.
Shooter,
He never will.
because he can't dribble,
He can't
like
he,
score off the dribble.
and he doesn't do anything outside the 3.
Right.
I mean, that's not an issue. I mean, that's
If he
what you want in a
develops
role
that,
player. That's what you want in a
he'd
role
be
player.
great.
Yeah, if he did, yeah.
Which
That's what
he
you want
could.
in a role
I mean,
player.
you
You
put
want
past him.
like he's honestly like a fantastic role player.
Yeah.
He won't do any like you know exactly where he is at all times, and he isn't going to. He also, once again with the Heat, he's not going to care about his usage, and
He'll get his shots.
like he's exactly what you.
They want him to shoot
set,
like as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whenever he's open, even when he's lightly covered.
So would you do like Hero and Robinson and a pick for Harden?
I think you might need one more thing in there.
Yeah, I
One
mean,
more
I don't know if
pick.
Houston would do
For
it.
Houston,
but
yeah. If you're Miami, you'd do that.
but it
in a
would,
heartbeat.
but it would,
They're
would
saying they
kinda
don't want
s-
Hero for Harden though. Not like straight up, just
Miami?
like adding Hero at all.
they don't want to add Hero.
Wow.
No.
No, I
I
understand
mean,
that.
Hero's-
Well, they don't want to, but yeah.
You might be able to go like Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, in a few future firsts.
Yeah.
And
That's not enough for Houston.
I don't
future
think,
firsts
I don't
though,
know.
I don't know.
I mean, they're on his list. I don't know how much
You-
like
then you have
the Rockets
John Wall,
value that, but
DeMarcus Cousins, Duncan Robinson, Kendrick Nunn, and a bunch of future firsts.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
Depending on if Harden would stay with the Heat, though, those picks are going to be like
Well, here's the thing.
Oh, he'll love
not
the Heat.
great.
Strip club city.
Here's the thing.
He won't like the conditioning and all that. That's
What,
bullshit
what
puts
does
him
Jimmy
through.
Butler feel about that? A guy like Harden coming into his team.
He liked a post about it the other day.
Oh, for real?
And then they asked him out, and he said he only liked it because he liked James Harden's haircut, but like he
Like-
did it with his like little evil smile and shit. Like, I don't know. I think you want that. I mean, how could you not?
No, I know he wants.
Jimmy's like that's and it's best. It's like probably the best superstar you could give Jimmy,
Yeah.
because Jimmy, like we said before, is one of those guys where he can have 11 points a game. In a series, and you won't be like, Jimmy didn't show up, because he's there
Right.
with a ton of other stats. So you know, he's not going to be missing shots, like missing shot attempts. Like it's just, I think that's a really good situation for the Heat if they can
Yeah.
go after him.
Yep.
But
Yep.
what an annoying team that would be.
Yeah, that would be. Then you really wouldn't want to play them.
Let's go a little north
right.
in Florida. Check out Orlando Magic.
Florida geography expert
yeah.
Brian Diaz. Wow, I didn't even have to think about Orlando relative to Miami. I guess Miami's way at the bottom, right? So you can only go north. But like, hey,
Yeah, I
that's still
panicked a
impressive.
little when I said that, but
That's tight. There's a lot to talk about with this Magic team.
I think that they might be the least.
Ex-
We might have the
exciting
least
team.
to say about them because they are the
What's
same.
to say?
Yeah, it's
They are the same. We've talked about this before. They are the same team
I
that they have been. Literally, if you like, just look at their
Yeah,
roster.
they
it's
just
like,
re-signed
they
their
have
guys.
They have Cole Anthony.
Dwayne
That's
Bacon.
Oh, Cole Anthony, Dwayne Bacon.
I
That's it. That's really all it is.
think that Dwayne Bacon signing 2 years, $3.5 million is a steal. I think he'll be a starter for them. I think he'll score double digits. I think it's a really, really good signing. Michael Carter Williams is whatever.
He's fine.
Defensively, super strong. I don't know if Markelle is like that guy for them, but guard wise, they have depth. Whether Markelle, Cole Anthony, Michael Carter Williams, if those guys, they might not be great, but if they pan out, like they have depth at like a lot of positions here. Mo Bamba, another name where you're looking and you're like, Mo Bamba, you look at him and he like, if he stays healthy and like, he could play really well. Jonathan Isaac's not even on this list. I don't know, like
He
when
tore
he
his-
comes,
yeah, I don't know
when
when
he
that-
comes back, but they're young. They're defensively, they're good. And if they can hold up defensively, I think this team, could fight for an 8 seed very easily.
Familiar
I think
territory.
Yeah.
we know Markelle is a bust by now.
A bust, but like could
He's like
he
Marvin
Markelle?
Williams bust.
I
you
don't.
know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him.
not even helping out a bit?
I really don't see him helping out.
What?
I
What?
I
What
don't.
do you
He
mean
helped
by
out last
helping out?
season.
He's like he averaged 12 and 5 in 72 games.
Yeah, but I think that losing DJ Augustine, and who has been on that team
a while.
as their starting point guard now. Well, he actually didn't start that much last season, but as like as a big piece, averaging double digits,
Yeah.
4-5 assists a game.
Sometimes he'd be like their top scorer,
Yeah, I mean,
which isn't saying a lot with this team because they don't score a lot. But
I don't see them being able to make the playoffs with
what do you put the percent at?
with the other teams getting better and them staying the same,
Yeah.
maybe getting a little worse, maybe getting a little bit better. I mean, it's if they got worse, it's like worse by like a fraction.
yeah.
If they got better, it's better by the same.
Yeah.
It's, at the end of the day, like their team just like isn't. It's
Good.
just not. Yeah, they're just literally just not good. They've been making the playoffs these past years, but it's like
Barely.
look who what like there's been no,
Vucevic, all-star.
but there's been like no
One
team.
time.
There's been recently it's like the Wizards weren't good, Hornets, Hawks, Bulls.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. They've just been the
Pistons,
best.
Cavs,
They've
like,
had like
nobody's been good
losing
the last
records
2
and made the
years.
playoffs.
I think
Yeah,
they can
so-
fight for an 8 seed, but I like the youth. I mean, I think Mo Bamba could play well, and he has like a really sick song. I think
That's
Dwayne
true,
Bacon
actually.
is a huge
He actually
signing.
wrote that song too.
Yeah, and I think Dwayne Bacon, great signing, and I think Dwayne Bacon, Aaron Gordon, like will be their guys.
I would actually possibly give them around the same chance of making the playoffs as a team like the Bulls.
No, I give him a
What?
50% chance of making the playoffs.
Wow.
You give a team that went 33-40 last year a
Yep.
50% chance of making the playoffs when there's a team like the Wizards, there's a team like now the Nets that have become much better. There are teams like the
Hawks, depending on how
Hawks.
better
I
they
think
got.
a 50% chance isn't great, but I think like
50% chance is a ton when you're thinking about an 8 seed when there's like 7 locks.
I think there's
50% means that they are one. That they are no. 50% means that they are that you give them the highest chance
of any other team.
of any other team other than the 7 teams that we have as locks. That's what 50% means.
wait, what do you mean?
So you're
'Cause,
saying
no
that they have
other
a
team
higher
could
chance.
have
They have a better
more than
chance
50%.
than the Rockets. I mean, sorry, the Rockets. The Wizards. I was thinking about Westbrook. The Wizards. They have a higher chance than. I mean, it's tough to say the Hawks, but like the Hawks, I feel like the Hawks are a better team than
Me
them.
and
What
Scott
teams are
think
you
the
certain that have a
Cavaliers-
higher chance of fit?
But
Certain?
apparently
Wizards.
that's a hot take.
Oh no, I'm not. I
Fuck
I
these
feel
guys.
like they do. I'm not certain about that. But
Yeah.
I'm saying that the 7 teams that they have locked.
Yeah,
I say you can't put
Should
them
just
at
have a
50,
separate
though.
conversation.
I don't think you could put any team at 50 though. You know what I mean? I don't feel
Yeah,
like you
no,
could put
I
any
don't-
team.
it's
because
very
there's,
much
like
up for
4
grabs.
teams, and you're not going to put one at 50 because that means that they're like, you're saying like they're probably. Or
Coin
like they're
flip.
like,
I think they can. I really think they
yeah,
do,
no,
can.
I mean they can. I'd be like,
I don't think
mean,
it's a high seed. I think they're going to be
Brian
fighting for the
believes in
8,
magic.
maybe
I
a
just-
7 seed.
They went 33-40 last year. I just don't see a team.
We get it. You can bring up the
that
standings.
goes that far below 500. I don't see a team below 500 making the playoffs in the East this year.
Interesting. It could be like 8 seed is like right around
Like
there.
I don't. Yeah. Like
The
like
weird thing is
36
Aaron
and
Gordon.
36 or something, but
Aaron Gordon is still like 24, 25. Like he's the same age as
He doesn't
he's
age.
25. And he's been in the league like 6 years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like Duncan Robinson, he's like the same age.
yeah.
And we
Yeah.
think of him totally different. So I don't know. I think I
We'll
won't
see.
go 50, but I put him in the same class as Cavaliers.
What was your Cavaliers?
Magic?
Seriously,
Plus
they were like one of the worst teams in the league.
Well, I give Cavs 15%. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't give the Cavs that much, but if you're gonna give that, I understand
Listen,
giving
we'll
the Magic
see.
around that.
We'll see.
at the end of the day, where the cookie crumbles,
This isn't a team that
No
we
one
need to
knows.
talk about.
I just don't see how a team like the Wizards
and Cole Anthony, how much?
I don't see a team like the Wizards who aren't necessarily great, but Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal. You're trying to tell me right now, Brian. I'm
All right, my
talking to
stats
you,
were
sir.
off. I think they
You're
have a
talking
better
right now
chance of
that-
making than Orlando.
Thank you. That's all I need to hear.
But I think Orlando has a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
But I also
I
imagine
think that- I think
one
there's
team
lots of
could
teams that
fall
have
out
a chance.
with injuries. You know what I mean?
But when we're talking about it, we're talking about
Assuming they-
we're no injuries.
Well, Magic
We're
haven't
talking
had
about
injury
in
problems
2K
for
rules.
the most
But yeah,
part.
I mean, Aaron Gordon was
Which
out
is
for a lot
probably
of the
why-
season. They stay the same
Yeah.
every year.
Listen, man. Wizards made
That's a
some
good point,
deals,
though,
you
bro.
know? Signings,
Yeah, they're active.
trades. You know, you swap out John Wall for Russell. I don't know how much you
Improve.
improve with that one.
What?
He doesn't know how much they're going to improve with Russell Westbrook
I know.
versus
think,
John Wall.
I think they improve it a lot. I think Russell Westbrook has proven himself the last couple of years.
But does he play well with the proven scorer Bradley Beal? As Russell
I
Westbrook
don't know.
is someone
Westbrook's
who
played with proven scores like his whole career almost, aside from when KD left. But with KD and then
But
with
you could
Harden in
argue that
Houston.
last season with Harden, it was ugly.
ugly?
Yeah, he didn't look good.
Well, I think that it's just who he was with.
he was-
Bradley Beal is not like James Harden.
No,
different
But-
system too,
he
not the
might
run
have,
and
but,
gun
like the
3-point
system-
shooting.
The system wasn't good, but he was 27, 8, and 7
Yeah, and now think about it with like
with John
With a-
Wall.
but he'll be like on an actual legitimate
Team.
real team. Like,
Yeah.
like obviously the Rockets are a threat. That's I'm not saying that they're like
small
a
ball, like, no
but like yeah
center.
like it's
So,
like a legitimate
are you
like, NBA
saying
like,
that they get
game
better
plan.
with Russell over John
Yeah,
Wall?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
because
well,
John
well,
Wall
no,
has
that's
been
not
out
that's not what
for
I
2
say. That's
years.
not what I'm
No,
saying. That's
well,
not what I'm
it's kind of
saying.
what I'm asking.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying that. I think that they stay around the same, but with John Wall on their team, they were a very good team.
Yeah,
I mean,
They were
obviously,
playoff
obviously they
team.
still had Otto
Eastern
Porter. They
Conference
still had
Finals.
Marquise Morris. They still had
Yeah.
Martian Gortat. They still had like
Wait,
they still
were
had.
in Eastern Conference Finals a long time ago.
Not Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference semifinals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they lost to Isaiah Thomas.
I still think that
Your
Russell
boy.
Westbrook now comes and he has Thomas Bryant.
Yeah.
He has like Mo Wagner, who's not obviously not like. I
No.
mean, he's decent. He's not bad, but
Robin Lopez.
and then
Mhm.
yeah, and they have like
Right.
like players that like you can like pass to in the paint.
Yeah.
Right.
Roy
So it's like
Hachimura.
back to like
Mora.
it's not obviously you can't really compare Thomas Bryant and Steven Adams right now. They're at different points in their
No, it
careers,
is
but
similar
like
to that Thunder team though.
yeah, exactly. Where it's like, can Bradley Beal play that like Paul George role,
I think
or maybe would Russell Westbrook play the Paul George role where he's like the second
Off
guy?
ball.
I mean, it's gonna go back and forth, obviously, but like
It's an experiment.
I think that Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal makes more with this specific lineup
Yes.
too. Makes way more
Absolutely.
sense than James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
in that system because of the like Mike D'Antoni
Yeah.
running
Well,
gun
co-
three
well-
Westbrook's not his game is not hucking up threes in like transition or
Yeah,
whatever. Like
no.
when he attacked the basket, that was like the best he was
I
as
think.
a player.
Yeah, I think Houston loses the trade no matter what,
Right.
but I think the Wizards stay the same. If that makes any sense.
Even though Wizards lost
What
a
do you mean
pick
stay?
too.
I don't know. I think that it's a very
As if they
they're
were
very
captain.
similar. They're very similar players, as seen on our Twitter account at the Baller Scholars.
Thanks.
Our
That was sick.
host Matt here posted a great meme, but which was then stolen by Pro Basketball Reference. But
serious?
Yeah.
but
They'll be seeing
Uh,
my lawyers.
I think that it's very similar. Like they're very similar players, statistically, obviously, not really that similar when it comes to when actually playing, but statistically they are. But I think that Westbrook is better suited for this team. I think that Harden, especially since D'Antoni's gone and now they're doing like a DeMarcus Cousins,
Right. More traditional team.
yeah, and they got Christian Wood. Like
Yeah.
they're a team that's both teams like both trades make sense for
Right, no,
the
def-
for
for
the
the
star
fit.
for the
Better
star
fits.
for the fit. I mean that's and I think that is what really matters. I don't really think that it was like one team won the trade, one team
No.
lost the trade. One team might have won more. I mean, we'll see by the end of the
It's
season,
gonna,
obviously.
yeah, it'll
but
depend on how it goes.
but I mean, I think that they're both good. I will say that it's a little strange because it makes you think like, what if they had just kept Westbrook,
Mhm.
but then they actually
I know.
changed
right,
the game plan?
because they got a new coach.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally different, new
So
roster.
And
what would that
Boogie.
be like? What?
And Boogie.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because now they're starting to like actually have centers,
Right.
and like they had Capella, and then they traded.
Maybe it would hurt Harden. I don't know.
I think that, I mean, you had the two MVPs, like back-to-back MVPs in 2017, 2018 or whatever.
Yeah.
And in Westbrook and Harden, and they both won MVP. And I mean, I like Harden a lot, but they both won it like strictly because of their usage.
Yeah.
And like how, like literally, like Westbrook was the only player on the team. He
Yeah.
was the only player on the team, and they didn't even have a superstar. Anyone
No,
else
that
at that
was
point.
without, like,
And then
Paul George.
Harden, when he won MVP, he was just
shooting, baby.
Yeah, and I mean that's what he does, and like he's great at it, obviously. But it's just like
Two guys on the same
it's
team.
two guys with that much usage. Like,
No.
what are you gonna?
John
like, what
Wall's
are you gonna
definitely
do?
more pass first than
Yeah.
Russ.
Yeah.
This is what I say the Rockets do is trade Harden to the Wizards for Bradley Beal. Say you don't like playing with Westbrook, too bad. You're just going to change cities and play with him in a different uniform. Because apparently
Nah.
it didn't matter to Harden either way.
They have
That's a good
I
idea.
like their young guys. Roy, Danny.
Mhm.
Danny's a good pick that everyone always overlooks.
Oh, yeah.
He could have,
Cassius Winston, too, is
older
just one of
like
those
point
Michigan
guard.
State guys just sticks around forever. And
Yeah.
then
Goes
we'll
to the
see.
league in a late second rounder. I mean,
Draymond Green did it.
Davis Bertrands. That's like a pretty cool.
He's
You
fine.
know, what are they giving him at? Like
He's sticking
15?
around for a
Yeah.
while. He's
He's 5 for 80.
28. or will be 28.
People wanted him. I just don't.
He's a good piece, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
the
That's
money-
a little overpaying.
The money this offseason was a little weird for me, but with the inflation of
Well, yeah, because he
contracts,
got
it's-
5 for 80. I feel like he's less valuable to a team than like Serge Ibaka or like Harrell would be, just because of the like pedigree and like the playoff experience. I feel like they have more to offer than Davis Bertrands does. But he scores like 15 a game. Can shoot.
I'm telling you, he's gonna have a great season.
Davis.
Yeah, he's gonna have a
Meaning
fantastic
what?
season. Meaning
I want numbers.
Meaning similar 3-point percentage, where he shot 42% last season
Mhm.
and 43% the season before. So I think he'll shoot around that again. But I think that he'll have like an 18-point per game season.
Wow.
And I know
Wow.
that it's tough because now obviously they have Westbrook, but I think that opens up.
Yeah, because Westbrook will attack.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have Wall
And
last year. Like they
yeah,
had like
and
Ish
that's-
Smith starting at point guard.
And I mean,
whatever.
Bertans is he really is a fantastic shooter. And I mean, worth his contract, 5 years, $80 million, debatable. But no. Per year, he's worth that. 5 years, do you really want to sign him like instantly for 5
No, I
years?
mean, like I said, he's like going to be 33 by the end of that contract.
Yeah, I mean that's a questionable contract for sure. But
Could be worse.
but like I think he'll have a great season, and I think that he'll actually be one of the reasons why
They make it to the playoffs.
why they make it to the playoffs.
Could
You think so?
Hachimura be most
Yeah.
improved?
Most improved.
I don't know if I have the usage.
with like
He had great numbers.
Yeah.
13 and 6
Another year
in
of
30
growth.
minutes.
I'm pretty sure he's come back stronger this year.
yeah, but do you see him taking more than like 11 shots per game?
You guys
So
are
that's
all-
what he took last season, and I think that he'll probably take less.
He might make more.
He's right. He
But I
could-
mean,
that
he's
would just
shooting
even
40. He's
out.
shooting
I don't know.
46%. I
think
feel like
he's
that's
a
pretty
contender
good.
for me. I mean,
I like him.
Roy
I like
was a
him.
great player to come off the bench in my fantasy team last year.
there we go.
If I
And
needed
will he be a starter in your fantasy league this year?
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, foreshadowing
With
the
the
next.
first
Foreshadowing
round
the,
pick.
uh,
Scott's gonna take him in the first round.
How do you feel about Denny?
I mean,
You know,
I think he's a good player.
you guys both.
I think he'll.
What do we know about Denny?
I think that.
Foolish.
I think that. I mean,
Okay.
it's always risky taking those kind of players, but I think that they have foreign players on their team. Lots of foreign players actually.
Mo Wagner.
Mo Wagner,
Davis.
Rui, and Davis. So
I think Thomas Bryant's.
Denny
from
didn't even
somewhere.
play that much in EuroLeague.
No,
Because of his
yeah, but
numbers.
that's why it's risky. Like they never do. It's like the same thing with like how Dragon Bender he would play like 6 minutes a game,
Yeah.
and then they said. That
I
he
mean,
was
his
gonna be,
per
like,
36 are kind of sick, but
Denny or
And Ish Smith
Denny.
is a good basketball player.
yeah, Smith's pretty
he
good.
torches the Celtics every time.
Every time.
You're
Yeah,
one of
I
those
mean-
guys.
I see them making the playoffs.
What's your put it at a percent?
They would be my top. I would put them at like 30.
30.
Sounds good.
30%.
So you think so? We have 7 locks, so that leaves 8 teams vying for one spot.
Yeah, and I don't think that I think that the Bulls
Don't make it.
don't make it. I think that the
Cavs, Pistons.
Cavs, Pistons don't make it. So there's like, and the Knicks don't make it.
Mhm.
So there's like 4 teams. So then it comes down to like Hawks, Magic,
Hornets.
and I don't think the Hornets make it. So it comes down to the Hawks, Magic, and the Wizards.
Yeah.
And I think out of those 3 teams, if you're just looking right on paper, like those 3 teams, you
Yeah.
kind of have to go, in my opinion, with the Wizards.
Definitely the most proven.
Yeah.
Has
I mean, they literally have the MVP from 3 years ago now.
Right.
Like
Has
he's
Russell Westbrook ever had a season where he hasn't made the playoffs?
I don't think so. I mean, he's like single-handedly brought teams to playoffs. You know.
yeah. He did. Yeah.
He will. Yeah. I think so. Russell and Bradley Beal are a pretty. Josh is fucking leaving as I'm saying this, bro.
Listen,
What a power move.
I think they're a.
Alpha
I'm not
shit.
leaving.
I think they're
He's
now
just cold.
one of the best duos in the league again.
They gotta
Ooh.
be. They have to be.
Better
Yeah.
than LeBron, AD.
I mean, but backcourt wise too, they got to be a top.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
top
I'm not
three?
saying they're the best, but I'm saying.
Well, I guess without
No,
Curry and Clay, then they
I'm
have
not
to
even
be
saying they're
like
top
two.
three duos. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
like
but
Dame,
they
You're
CJ.
are a
talking about the
premier.
top one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
we're
Bradley
looking at a
Beal-
good team.
Is legit.
Yeah. I mean, if they have,
All-star snub for sure. It's all narrative.
Oh yeah,
it is all narrative.
Yeah, they
Beal
should
over
have two,
Sabonis,
they should have
probably.
two All-Stars in the Eastern Conference this year.
Will they?
They should, probably, right?
They should.
Will they?
I think that Bradley Beal will definitely make it. I don't see why Russell Westbrook
I
wouldn't.
want you to commit to these so we can pull him back up. You know,
I'm committing right now.
saying Bradley Beal's an all-star.
Yep.
Oh fucking!
And now, since we've gotten to the end of the episode, quick shout out to my friend Bianca because she asked me to shout her out today.
Perfect.
Hey,
Thanks,
Bianca,
Bianca.
welcome to the podcast.
If you want to
Josh
be,
Shea loves you.
that's true.
Aww.
If you want to be,
Platonically?
and romantically,
Oh, wow.
if you
That's sick. I didn't know that.
want to be a guest on the podcast, hit my line.
Have
Really
fun
got
hanging
the
out alone
tubes
during the
turning.
day tomorrow.
Wow.
Oh,
That's what we need.
Yo,
Conflict
we got
is
that
good.
on the podcast. We're still running. Yo, what's your response?
Careful what you say.
I'm gonna be hanging out at your house.
With who? Because apparently I'm
Your
going
mom.
Oh!
to... Can we turn this off?
You just listened to another episode of the Baller Scholar Podcast.